This is Enter the Gungeon. If you don't know what this incredible game is, it's a top-down bullet hell shooter with roguelike elements. And today, I'm going to be analyzing Enter the Gungeon's most disgustingly broken character. Who could this character be, you might ask? Well, it's... the bullet. To kick off this analyzation, I'm going to go over the bullet's character as a whole in terms of unlocking him and looking at his items and explaining what each of them do in depth. In order to unlock this little yellow demon, you have to beat any of the character's pasts first, the easiest being the convict's past or the huntress's past. After a past has been beaten, there will be bulletkin wearing red capes that will have a random chance of spawning when entering a room. When you find one of these red caped fellas, your goal is to not kill them and simply leave them alone. After about 10 to 30 seconds, they'll disappear. You must do that 5 times, and after you do it 5 times, you'll have the bullet unlocked and available to play. This is a pretty simple and easy unlock, especially for a character as grossly powerful as the bullet. Now it's time to cover the items that the bullet will start every run with. The first item is called Blasphemy. This is the bullet's starting weapon. Its attack is a basic slash that requires you to be very close to land hits. This basic slash also destroys enemy bullets when hitting them. We're getting pretty close to understanding why he's so broken, just sit tight. To make it even better, when you're at full health, this sword will shoot out beam projectiles which can be used with the slash to do an insane amount of damage. The sword beam is an even larger factor for why the bullet is so overpowered, because this weapon makes it hard to even get hit in the first place, meaning you'll practically have the sword beams nearly all the time. The last but strongest feature of this weapon is its ability to do a quote-unquote parry of some sort when double tapping reloads so long as one swing has been done before attempting to reload. To really reinforce why you'll hardly get hit while using this weapon, this parry also destroys bullets and lasts roughly 2 seconds, meaning you get to have free and decently spammable invincibility frames that last a decent amount of time just cause why not? The last item the bullet has is his passive item, which is called Live Ammo. This item is very simple. You have 400% increased damage when you dodge roll into an enemy, and have complete immunity to contact damage. This item is nothing to scoff at, and just adds to the bullet's strength even more. Seeing as you have to be close to enemies to get maximum value out of your weapon's damage, this item gives you the ability to perform a combo where you slash and dodge into your enemies for one big burst of damage. This combo allows for a one-shot on enemies that normally wouldn't get one-shot by the bullet slash and beam attack at the same time. Floor 1 shotgun kin are a good example. If you dodge, roll, and slash into them, while also hitting them with the sword beam, that big burst of damage is enough to get rid of them in one clean blow. Now that I've explained to you how his acquisition and items work, it's time I show you just how absolutely brain-dead broken this character is. As you can see in the background, I'm fighting a boss called Old King. If you've played Gungeon, then you know how ridiculously boring, difficult, and annoying this fight can be due to his insane attacks and crazy damage reduction. The bullet, however, changes that and flips it on its head completely. He makes the fight a cakewalk because the Old King and the Bullet King can be cheesed in the same way when playing this character. Crazy how this already broken character has a special cheese for bosses that make them even easier, huh? If you sit directly in front of the king and just repeatedly slash at the right times and parry when you need to, like I'm doing in the video, then it is practically impossible for him to hit you. I love Gungeon to bits, but playing the bullet honestly feels like he's just playing the game for you. You're hardly required to do much, and it feels like you're just playing on easy mode. I understand it's a solo player game, so you don't need balancing, but I mean, come on. In this next clip I'm going to show you of the hardest boss in the game, it'll solidify just how broken he really is. Who's the hardest boss in the game, you may be wondering? It's the Resourceful Rat, one of the most infamous bosses due to his very high level of difficulty. As you can see in the gameplay I'm showing, the Resourceful Rat is all about spamming a bunch of attacks and being just straight up unfair when you fight him. The Rat's fight style matches his character very well, but when you're playing the bullet, the Rat's unfairness in combat will hardly mean anything to you, as you can clearly see. Just by looking at the gameplay, you can see that, just like every other boss, this little rodent can get easily trivialized when fighting him with the bullet, and it's still for the same reason, the bullet's starting weapon. The kunai attack that the Rat launches in phase 1 of his fight is honestly one of the most annoying attacks that he has, as it comes out very quickly and is often hard to dodge because of randomness. But with the bullet, you can simply parry and it won't hurt you at all. Now, since the Rat fight is heavily oriented on attacks that are sporadic, chaotic, and constant, it's one of, and if not the most intense bullet hell fights in the game, only really being rivaled by the Lich himself. Phase 2 of the Rat fight is much more intense and annoying due to the new attacks he uses, the worst one being the one where he grabs a Gungerer and spawns a bunch of circles. As you can see in the clip, I got hit by the same attack I just mentioned, and it's because I'm not perfect and I'm not a god at this game. I'm pretty good at it, but everyone slips up. But the strategy remains the same when you're playing the bullet, you know? You just slash at the right times and spam parry if you need to. The fact that one of the hardest bosses in the entire game can be beaten with a starting weapon without a whole lot of difficulty is absolutely mind-boggling, which drives us into the discussion part of the video. Since you have a good understanding of the bullet's kit by now and have witnessed a demonstration of his raw power, it's time to really dive deep into why and what makes him so busted. Enter the Gungeon involves a ton of skill. There's no doubt in that. It's what makes the game feel fun to play, to know that you're so good at the game that you can conquer its bosses and challenges time and time again, all because of how good you are at the game. However, the bullet takes nearly all the skill out of the game. It's like Salvador from Borderlands 2, and what I'm going to talk about is going to sound very off topic, but trust me, it's relevant and ropes right back into the bullet. In Borderlands 2, Salvador is the Gunzerker class. It's a very simple class on the surface, and his entire gimmick is holding 2 guns, and nothing seems wrong with that, right? Wrong. It actually allows you to trivialize the entire game and become essentially immortal while being able to dish out the highest damage in the game, all because his simple ability of holding 2 guns at the same time is a broken, glitchy mess that also requires very little brain power to use and manipulate. Doesn't that sound familiar? Well, it should sound familiar, because this is exactly the bullet situation as a character in Enter the Gungeon, minus the glitchy part, of course. The reason the bullet and Salvador can be compared is because Bullet's starting weapon is like Salvador's ability. You get both of them at the start of every run, and they both turn you into an unkillable powerhouse that gets exponentially stronger as you play. Bullet's existence in this game is a paradox in its own right. Loot is a massive part of what allows you to gain necessary leverage over your ever-evolving enemies, and the fact that you don't even need loot to beat the entire game with Bullet is maddeningly unhealthy. Bullet takes the core part of the game that makes it fun and just demolishes it, simply because he makes everything too easy. If you recall to what I said earlier, a lot of the fun that you can have in this game comes from your skill as a player, when you're so good that you can beat every single challenge that comes your way. Bullet makes everything not a challenge, therefore when you play him, it feels like you're not having a whole lot of fun. This is because the bullet rewards the player for hardly trying. Just to be clear, I never said that when you play the bullet, you have to use his starting weapon the whole time. I'm just saying that you can play a run while using nothing but his starting weapon and have it not be much of a challenge whatsoever. Which, again, is what makes him so stupid. Another factor that makes the bullet appear so strong is his starting kit in comparison to the other character starting kits. Every other character's starting kit is nothing compared to the bullet's. Their kits are very simple. They have simple guns that allow them to shoot at things and nothing more. They also have simple items that help them out in minor but effective ways. Meanwhile, the bullet over here is moving like Prime King Von, taking lives with no effort while remaining untouchable. Speaking of untouchable and bullet, let's just go over his one limit real quick. This limit being his HP. As I said at the start of the video, if the bullet doesn't have max health points, then the sword will not fire a beam. I won't lie, not being able to fire the beams out of the bullet's sword definitely kills him as a character, but if you have armor, the thing that goes over your health and takes a hit instead of your health, then you don't lose access to the beams. I've gotten hit a couple times in these clips that I've showed you and whatnot, and I've kept my beams simply because I took shield damage rather than health damage. This character is so stupid. The funny thing is, armor isn't even a hard thing to come by. You can buy it from the Shopkeep's shop or the Forge Master's shop. You can obtain it from certain items like Gun Knight pieces, for example. You can find it in secret rooms. You can get it from killing Chancekin. It can drop from brown chests, and you can get it quite commonly when clearing rooms or killing bosses. This simple little health bar addition makes the bullet so much more brain dead simply for the fact that it disables the one limit that he really has to his power. Anyway, that wraps up what has been my in-depth analyzation and discussion of the bullet as an unstoppable force of a character in Enter the Gungeon. Thanks for watching. This video is my first big project in regards to using my new equipment and editing software. I really hope you found this video entertaining, interesting, and informative. If you liked what you saw, maybe subscribe and like the video. You don't have to, but it's free. It doesn't hurt you and helps me out a ton. You could even turn off the notifications if you want. I've been your host, Juno. Remember, keep on keeping on and have a great day, afternoon, or night. Peace.